Hello, are you safe and well? I thought you were. This is Tomo, and welcome to Equine Productions. Now, today we're going to be talking about jets. Now, not these sort of jets that we fly in or used to fly in, but jets, jockeys, education, and training schemes. So, what are the jockeys doing during lockdown? We haven't had racing for quite a few weeks. I don't think it's going to be racing again for quite a few weeks. We'll find out more about that. I've got three special guests. Let's start with former top jump jockey Phil Kinsella, who now works for Jets. Phil, hello. Tell us where you are and tell us about Jets.
Yeah, hi Tomo. Hi everyone. I'm up in Maltby, just in a near a place called Yarm, sort of in between Stokesay and Yarm. So really kind of lucky to be just on the edge of the North York Moors. So I work for Jets as personal development manager, and that was a role that was introduced and commenced in November 2015. So basically that role isn't a new role in all sort of professional elite sports, but it was a new role introduced into racing, and that was basically to work with the apprentices and the conditionals as part of their support network from word go, and the Jets kind of what you might think as the more traditional role, that was part of that role as well then. So Ellie, we'll come on to Ellie. We've worked with Ellie. We saw her on a license course. We've seen her on her workshops. We've seen her obviously at the races. We've been kind of part of her support all the way through. And then obviously when we go to the races, we'll see people like Paul and some of the more established jockeys, and we'll sort of try and help them as well, really. So we're sort of that kind of holistic, all-round career support network.
It's very good. And just tell us what happened to you. All three of you have had injuries. Let's start with you, Phil. What was your serious injury, where and when?
Yeah, so I got I'd missed about 9 months with a break in my neck, and then got back racing and got back racing for about a fortnight, I think. Got brought down to Market and fractured my skull then, and despite what I thought, I wasn't allowed to get back racing after that. Probably spent about I lost the hearing, I lost my balance. And I thought, you get a fall, it hurts, you get better, and unfortunately, I wasn't allowed to get back racing.
Well, thank goodness, because and I say that, I know you summed it up well, but I've known you since you were a little kid, known your mum and dad and your sister, and we're glad you retired, in the nicest possible way. Thank goodness. Now let's move just down the road. Paul Mulrennan, top flat jockey. Paul, whereabouts are you today?
Hi guys, I'm in Borough Bridge. That's just between Ripon and Wetherby. So it's a very good location where I am, right on the A1. I've got 10 or 11 race courses all within an hour of me. I've got the racing centres like Thirsk, Moulton, Midland, Michael Dodds in Piercebridge, all very close. So it's very handy for morning work.
So where have you been riding out this morning?
This morning I was up at Ben Haslam's for one piece of work, and then I went to Johnson's where I worked. So it's very much busy at the moment up here. Most trainers are keeping the horses going, ticking along nicely, just ready for whenever we can get going. Hopefully, we're hoping to see a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe 3 weeks' time, we could be back to some sort of racing.
Well, I tell you what, that would be great. Also, we were talking about injuries. What was your bad? You had a very bad break, didn't you?
The last injury I had was I fractured my L1, 2, and 3 on my lower back. But touch wood, I've healed well. There's no problems with it. I'm back fighting fit.
Well, you look well, and I know you are fit. You're one of our top jockeys, Group 1 winning jockey. I tell you what, our next guest would love to win a Group 1 race. Ellie MacKenzie, how are you? But you're not riding at the moment. What have you done?
Hi, I'm very well, thank you. In the grand scheme of things, I'm actually recovering from a broken leg currently.
Okay.
Fractured tibia and fibula happened riding out on the yard at home. One of those silly accidents that probably wouldn't happen 9 times out of 10, but unfortunately on this occasion it did. But I'm extremely lucky to have access to the Injured Jockeys Fund and Jets and other such great organisations to help me recover.
Whereabouts are you speaking from, and what are those trophies behind you?
I'm speaking from Lambourne, the Valley of the Racehorse. It's a fantastic location, particularly for a jockey. You've got loads of yards around here to try and ride out for and sort of help you get going. And it's also a brilliant location as it's fairly central to most racecourses. The trophies behind me are prizes won mainly through Arab racing. Some are from Silk Series races and novice races from when I was an amateur, and they're just good memories.
I tell you what, listen, we'll start with ladies first. Let's be fair. So what are you studying at the moment through Jets?
I am doing currently a level 4 in thoroughbred training and performance. So it's a course that I've kind of looked into through Jets to try and sort of decide what I wanted to do. I mean, through lockdown, it's a brilliant opportunity to train and to try and sort of educate yourself to prepare for when the inevitable happens and you can no longer ride. That is a decision I've always wrestled with because there's nothing else that I'm as passionate about as race riding. So it was quite difficult to pinpoint a course that I could really sink my teeth into. However, something that's racing orientated kind of helps me to sort of do something beyond the saddle.
And I take it, do you want to be a trainer when you retire? Because it's training thoroughbreds for performance.
It's still a decision that I haven't finalized yet. I still have no idea what I want to do beyond, but I thought if nothing else, it'd be good to have. It would help me with feedback to trainers who I ride for, so it can still help me in my current role, and it can prepare me for later on if I do decide to go down that road.
Let's move back up north to Paul Mulrennan, who is one of the world's top flat jockeys. It's as simple as that. He's worked his way up after being born in Ealing in West London. Paul, what are you studying at the moment and why?
Basically, obviously, my wife Adele has done a lot of work with Jets. I've seen firsthand what an amazing job Jets has done with her. Obviously, you know her from the race course. And I was, Adele's always on to me, you can't ride forever. I mean, we all think we're going to ride forever. I mean, I don't know if I ride for another 10 years, 5 years, or maybe this will be my last year. I don't know. So we were talking away. And the beauty with Jets is there's so many different courses to do. So obviously I've done my level 1 and 2. So my level 3 now is the next step. Try and get that done. And it's something that when I stop riding, it would help me because I want to stay working in the industry with horses, maybe even in a yard, maybe go training one day, who knows. But the beauty again with Jets is there's so many different courses to do. Even if this isn't what I would pursue later on, I can always do another course and something. There's so many different courses to do. It's great.
So, but why are you doing a course? Because you've worked your way up. You know exactly what day of the week it is on and off the track and in the stables. So what are you learning?
Well, the thing is, I always say this, Phil will know what I mean here. When you're a flat jockey, a lot of the time you tend to just go into yards, jump on and off, ride work. You don't really know what goes on behind closed doors. And I think with this level 3, I'll be learning back to basics, lunging horses, the training, the feeding, the physique of a horse. And I think jump lads, they're probably more hands-on in yards when they're riding out. They're more part of the team, so I've probably missed bits in yards because I'm a flat jockey, just going in, riding work. I don't know. I'll be honest, I wouldn't know how to lunge a horse or drive a horse. I don't really know about the feeding side of it and injuries because a lot of the time you're just going in, riding and work. Yeah, it feels well. I think it wants this trip or it wants this ground. I'll know that sort of side. But the level 3 will teach me the other side of things, i.e. a trainer side or a head lad side. So, I'm really looking forward to doing it.
I bet you are. You sound so enthusiastic. So, Phil, let's come back to you. How many courses have you got, and what do they entail? Is it just about horses, or is it about humans? Tell us some of the courses.
Yeah, well, I think I'm absolutely fascinated listening to Ellie and Paul, and they both kind of hit the nail on the head, really, in that you don't have to know absolutely exactly what you want to do. It's not even particularly about when you finish riding. It's not a kind of like, what do I do next kind of thing. All that Ellie's doing and what Paul's doing at the minute is just adding value to themselves. Kind of having that ability to be absolutely the best jockey there can be, you know, leave nothing, no stone unturned. But actually, you know what? Just have an interest, dip your toe into something else, have that kind of adding value, dual career kind of concept. So I think I think I've had conversations with a lot of people who said, "Oh, didn't really come and talk because I don't know what I want to do." Well, that's even better. Like, you don't know what you don't know. So come and have a chat with Lisa, come and have a chat with myself, and we can just kind of show you things, talk to you about things, dip into the real world for a couple of seconds, but then also just try and help you become conscious about what's out there. And basically the way we do it is we don't particularly kind of run courses. We basically try and plug you into whatever it is that you're interested in, whatever it is that might just kind of, as I say, kind of be able to develop yourself kind of along the way.
It's very interesting, this. Now, you had to do it because unfortunately you still very young. You had to retire from race riding because of the injury. So you had to do it, and it's full marks to you. You've worked very, very hard. Give us some other examples of other jockeys who've made the grade and made a successful switch from riding horses to working for a living.
Yeah, well, I think you know, there's probably if you think of the examples of like Paul Note, like Dale Gibson, Andrew Thornton, you know, Mick Fitzgerald, you know, them sorts of people who were just all the time kind of, again, not, you know, the job that you might end up doing. When I first got injured, this job didn't exist. So I couldn't have sat there and said, right, I want to be personal development manager for Jets. It just wasn't a possibility. So all the time whilst I was injured, whilst I was working, I was doing like my jockey coaching, you know, personal training, you know, kind of all the time, just adding to my CV, adding to my development. So then all of a sudden one day this job came about. I kind of quite fancied it. Lisa, obviously worked with Lisa, you know, when I was riding, and kind of was fortunate enough just to have done a few things along the way that kind of made me fortunate enough to get appointed the role.
It's fascinating, this, and I'm Paul, come back to you. Are you finding other flat jockeys are keen to do this? Are you, I suppose you're not spreading the word because you're not in the weighing rooms at the moment, but are you just sort of 1 in 50, or are the other guys very keen on this?
If you roll back maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I think a lot of jockeys were a little bit, or they didn't want to say they were thinking about doing something else, because as Phil and Ellie will back me up on this, when you're riding, you're 110% committed to being a jockey, so you don't want anyone thinking, oh, he's taking his eye off the ball. But now, you know, it's 2020, we've all moved on. More and more lads and lasses, you know, you can't ride forever, you just can't. So you do need that second avenue, something to. So yeah, there is a lot more jockeys now looking to Jets, and the beauty with Jets is they don't put any pressure on you. There's no, right, you have to do this course and you're only allowed to do one. You can do as many as you want. There's no pressure. Phil and Lisa are great to talk to. They make it very easy for everybody. So yeah, there's more and more lads, and I think there's more and more lasses, lady jockeys, starting from a younger age, getting into Jets now, always thinking, well, 10 years time I might want to do this. So, you know, like this course I'm doing, I've not even started it yet, but I've been looking at things that I've got to do in it, and I can tell it's helping me already, because obviously I'm riding out a lot more now because there's no racing. Just little horse management and how to even deal with people, you know, in yards. So it's all a big help.
I like the top you're wearing, by the way. What is it? Is it a special top? Is it? What is it?
That's where my dad's from, in Ireland, Roscommon, west of Ireland. Yeah, they're not very good, but they're nice top.
Let's go back to Lambo. Paul was saying there about the ladies. How popular is it, well, or the women, whichever way, because you're now all the same. What other, is it popular with the girls? Do you chat? Do you say, come on, let's get involved with Jets?
From my apprentice course, certainly, it's always encouraged to kind of broaden your education, because, I mean, as Paul said, you can't ride forever, and it's going to happen to everybody at some stage. So right from the word go, you know, we are encouraged to train and sort of try and build up skills in other areas or whatever area interests us, because you never know when you might need them. I mean, an example would be Phil. You know, he didn't expect his career to end when it did. You know, it could happen to any time, at any time, because racing is a dangerous sport. So, I mean, to be honest, it's not really spoken about so much. But I mean, since I've started my course, I've been talking to some of the girls who I'm friends with in the weighing room. Rhiannon Ingram is one of them. She asked me how I'm getting on with a broken leg, and I told her I'm doing this course, and she said, oh, what course are you doing? Oh, I think I might do one, you know. And the fact that sort of you speak to one person that's doing a course, and it kind of gives you a bit of a boost to do it yourself, and kind of wake you up a bit and thinking, oh gosh, yes, this could happen at any time, you know. I need to have the skills in place ready for when it does.
And I tell you what, it's actually happened, hasn't it? You know, 6 weeks ago when we were racing for the last time. I know this is very strange, and let's hope it's a one-off, but it has actually happened. There is no racing. So basically, you're not earning. You're not getting your riding fees. You're not getting a percentage of the prize money, etc., etc. You might be getting paid a little bit to ride out. You might be getting something for your broken leg. But it's not an easy time, is it, Ellie?
Oh, certainly not. I mean, it's uncertain times for everybody. And, you know, certainly people I've spoken to within the industry, you know, it's quite worrying. And, you know, particularly trainers and jockeys at the lower end of the scale, you know, I suppose you could argue that we almost feel the pinch a little bit more because, you know, we're not in the forefront of people's minds, like big jockeys like Frankie Dettori, big trainers like John Gosden. You know, we're at the bottom of the pecking order. And so it's that much more difficult to sort of struggle your way up the ladder.
What's it like in Lambourne at the moment? What's the feeling? Is there an expectant feeling it's going to come back soon, or is it still?
I think it's quite hopeful, to be honest. And sort of as I'm off at the moment, I actually live on Mark Usher's yard, whom I used to work for until quite recently. And he's asked me to come up the gallops with him, film some horses, you know, put out some videos of the horses for owners who would normally visit, who now can't. And, you know, we've spoken a lot about it, and it is very worrying. But at the same time, you know, people are also hopeful that soon we're going to be in a position where we can start getting the ball rolling again and start racing. You know, all Mark's horses are going out as normal. Nothing's been put on holiday because we just don't know when it's going to start up again. And when it does, we all need to be ready.
That's true. Paul Mulrennan said earlier on, and we'll come back to you, Paul, that the horses are ticking over, so they're keeping fit, they're keeping ready. But what's the feeling? You've been riding out at Midland, you ride out for Michael Dodds at Darlington. What's the feeling with you about a resumption?
Yeah, the last 10 days I've got a bit more confident. You know, it's only the 1st of May. There's still a lot of time left in this year. I'll just be hopeful when we do get going that a lot of the tracks, especially up here up the north, can maybe look to race on into December. The whole program is going to be shuffled around a bit. It is going to be a bit of a headache when we do get going again, but we do need to get going back. Hopefully the end of this month there'll be some sort of racing on. Like I say, hopefully we can race on to nearer Christmas time on the grass. I mean, they had the November handicap at Thirsk in 1989, so I don't see why tracks like Thirsk, Ripon, New York's, Beverley's up here can't race on a bit longer. You know, everything's been business as normal up here really in Midland. Michael Dodds is, you've got to keep the horses ticking over. You can't just, you know, lock big, strong, strapping colts up. You know, they'd go mad. You know, so you've got to keep within reason. We're not probably doing as much galloping as what we would have been doing for this time of year, but we're doing as much as we can with them. Just everyone's got to stay positive and just hope that we can get back going again in the next 3 weeks or so.
And I was talking to Ellie, and she was just saying, Paul, that you know, she's not a very successful jockey. She doesn't earn obviously as much as you top boys. They're talking about when resuming, making it for experienced jockeys. I'd like to make it for every jockey, just so they can start earning a living again. Yeah,
I just think though the first week or fortnight, it probably, you know, there's plenty of good £3-5 apprentices that have got plenty of experience, but £7 apprentices probably haven't got as much experience as other people. I think, you know, I just think we just need a good clean sweep at things for the first couple of weeks. Don't want any hiccups. So I can see why they're probably thinking, when it could have been worded maybe a bit better. Saying senior riders, does that mean it's guys over 30 or what? Do you know what I mean? I just think they just want get it back sensible. We don't need any hiccups for that first week, 10 days when racing does come back, And
have you any worries health-wise about resuming, presumably behind closed doors? I mean, they've been doing it in Hong Kong, etc., etc. Any worries on a personal scale?
No, not at all. Everyone's just got to be very sensible. Keep clean, keep your distance, just be very sensible. Like I say, I'm riding out every morning. I've been riding out 6 mornings a week. You've just got to be sensible.
Well, absolutely. Let's come back to Phil, because you're the man who helps run Jets, and they're very small but very hard-working team. If any young jockeys or any senior jockeys like Paul are watching, what would you say to them?
I think the main sort of key messages really is just talk, just whatever it is about it. There's, if you have an idea what you want to do, give us a ring. If you don't, give us a ring. But even sort of beyond that, we are in pretty strange times. We've talked about the financial side of things. The PGA are there to help. No such thing as a stupid question. Just ring someone, ring whoever. Ring me if I can help. Well, I will, and if I can't, I'm pretty sure I know someone who can. And the PGA are doing brilliant. The people there to help. It literally is just a case of picking up the phone and having a conversation. And that's hopefully there's plenty of people doing that.
And one final question, I think it's a pertinent one. Is it free, or do you have to pay for these courses?
Yeah, so the way Jets is funded, so something like 0.06% of winning prize money. So there's an eligibility. So once you've had a professional license of 2 years and had 50 rides, we can fund up to 80% of courses are up to £2,000. But if you ring and say, "Oh, I fancy doing a degree," well, then we're really fortunate that we've got what's called a scholarship panel, so we can take that application and go and work it out.
Oh, brilliant! So it's for all sort of brains. You don't have to be the brain of Britain. Even if you get north out of 10 in arithmetic, you can still apply.
Still, just give us a ring, and we'll be able to have a conversation and work it out. But Tomo, you might know this is the kind of conversation even in the real, what I call the real world. So, not just about kind of worrying about how the horse ran or how it didn't run or these kinds of things. I class myself as in the real world now. Well, I'm still doing. Let's pretend I put the phone down now and I go, "Oh, what did I say that for? Or I should have said this."
Yeah.
Well, there's no point in laying awake tonight worrying about it. Give yourself something else to do. Have something else to think about, and you'll be exactly the same. Tommy, you'll have other interests. You'll have other things that you're doing. So this is not only something that professional athletes are encouraged to do. This is a real world thing as well. And hopefully Ellie will kind of think, well, giving her just something else to think about. Give Paul as well. Come home, just do an hour, just have an hour of thinking about something else, and it can be so positive on your life, but across all worlds.
It is so true, and I'm glad you brought that up, Phil. I'm not plugging it, but yesterday I interviewed Lester Piggott because it's the 50th anniversary of the one and only Nijinsky winning the 2,000 guineas, going on to win the Triple Crown. So I put a program together for radio. And you're right. I was thinking I've got to do something, and did that, and it's cool. I think it's good, and Leicester's in good form, by the way. So, but I don't think he'll be enrolling for Jets. You never know. You never know.
Yeah, more than welcome.
Well, listen, guys, it's great to talk to you. Phil, love to mum and dad and sis, and well done, and keep up the good work. And I know you work very hard. Thank you. Give us a wave.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Give us a wave. Paul, give us a wave. Give my love to Adele and everybody.
Okay.
There he is. Thumbs up. Well done, big fella. And Ellie, give us a wave, and I hope that leg's okay soon.
Thank you very much.
See you all. I hope, guys, see you all at the races very soon. This has been a production for Equine Productions, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Stay safe.